Joining me in the studio is Dr. Senekun Olufumi Ajose Harrison, who is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management and Director General of the Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center. Good to have you join us and happy Independence Day.
Same wish to you. Happy Independence.
Now, we have a blessing and a curse in our hands looking at the population explosion in Nigeria. We're about 200 million and expected to reach about 400 million. But in the area of utilizing our human resource, over the years, we've not been strategic in utilizing this. What do you make of it so far?
Well, I wouldn't really say that we've not been strategic. We have actually made great efforts. But the real challenge has been not looking at everything scientifically. Now, we need data. We don't even have enough data to explain to Nigerians, this is the number of employed people, this is the number of unemployed people, this is the number of active people in labor force. And that's a big challenge. Until we go back to all of that and do it properly, we may not be having the right indices to say we are not moving forward. But we really need to move forward because there are opportunities. The over 200 million population that you are talking about.
Yes, now, and looking at the country's population as well as the current unemployment statistics, the NBS put it at the last count at 23.1% as well. And we also have underemployment at double digits as well. This does not paint a good picture. 59 years of independence, and we are still struggling to have people gainfully employed. What do you make of it?
Now, like I said, we just have to go back to statistics, facts, and figures. Where did we miss it? Let's correct where we have missed it, and let institutions like CIPM, Nigerian Institute of Management, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria all come together. Let's have data. Without data, we cannot do anything. We don't have the right data to plan. And that's a key issue. And for us to move forward as a nation, we need to tell ourselves basic truths about it. How many people are actually engaged? How many people are totally disengaged? We don't have data on all of that. And it's until we have that that we can move. Big opportunities exist for this country, because we have the right human resource. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because if you look around, the youths constitute close to 45% of those that are actually supposed to be in the active labor force.
Exactly.
But what are we making of them? They have potentials to unleash. So we believe by the coming together of professional bodies and by having the right statistics, when we get the data, then we can plan.
Okay, let's now talk about the area of specialization. Now, that's one of the places where so many developing countries are looking towards emerging markets. Now, Nigeria seems to still stall a little bit in the area of specialization, looking at vocational training institutes. You look at somebody who even wants to just fix towels. They go for Togolese or Ghanaians, not necessarily Nigerians. So what are we supposed to be doing now? The president has promised to work on sustainable macroeconomic fiscal policies, but we are not necessarily seeing a very strong point being pulled in that area.
Now, institutions should be in place to drive this. Look at the tertiary institutions. For example, the curriculum has to change. But before waiting for that to happen, there are other government-created institutions that could do all of that. Look at ITF, for example, Industrial Training Fund. ITF is into vocational skills. Apart from ITN being into vocational skills, we have a lot of vocational institutions in Nigeria that can all come together to see how to address this particular issue. We have people who have skills and potentials, but we need to identify them and work through a clear strategy in batching. We batch them. We can experiment, start from a state like Lagos because of the population. Kano is there, Rivers is also there. These three states have population. They have a lot of youths who are into different skills.
And you believe with this we'll be able to manage the brain drain we've also seen over the years?
Why not? If not?
Okay, let's also talk about other initiatives that are expected from government now, this time around, looking at our population, those within the workforce, keeping them gainfully employed. Now, the biggest issue so far has been the management of the minimum wage issue. Now, so many trade unions and so many economic watchers have somewhat tilted in the line of saying, well, government is not doing enough in managing this situation. In terms of opening up the lines of communication, what do you also expect this time around? Clarity, because the staggered implementation of the minimum wages isn't going so well.
The truth about the matter is what we call ability to pay. Even if the federal government should release funds to all the states, you still get about 50% of the states unable to pay because they don't really have the money. But where we're going is this. With funding from the federal government, can the states even sustain it? And that's it's a big question. So the 30,000 naira minimum wage is okay, no problem. But all the states should think more of sustainability. Once you start it, you must be able to sustain it. And there are so many ways of sustaining it. So it only requires a lot of thinking out of the box. It requires what we normally call stretching yourself to look at the possibilities. There are so many possibilities in people, and it requires discipline.
And hopefully we'll take cues from the Kaduna State government that's already implemented the minimum wage and started payment as well.
That's good, but there must be a strategy of sustaining it.
Well noted. Thank you very much, Dr. Senekun. And then that's all we can take on business.